Okay, hey, we're all back. Thanks everybody for joining us for another week of Available Work. We've got a wonderful episode for you guys here. Our friend Adriana Cruz from the Economic Development and Tourism Office in the Office of the Governor is here with us. Hi, Adriana.
Hi.
And guess who's back? It's Bonnie.
Bonnie is back.
Bonnie's back.
Thank you for having me back. Always a pleasure.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm glad you can come back. We had a couple of fun episodes without you, but we didn't have so much fun that we wanted to bring you around. Our interns in TSTC, I think, possibly we're recording this mid-April now, right? It's April 8th.
Kind of beginning of April.
April 8th.
Yeah.
A lot has happened since we last were all together. So, but I appreciate it. And Adriana, I know you're busy, so like I'll quit dawdling. I want you to tell our audience what I always kind of think of our audience. Obviously, it's Texas. It's our businesses, our employers. Adriana, you represent a big part of the workforce development system itself with his economic development. We've had schools, TSDC has been on, some training centers, and then the workforce. But without the economic development, we wouldn't have anybody knocking on our door, right? I would really like to see if, first of all, just introduce you, let us know a little bit about your past and how you ended up at the leading Texas in the economic fight for freedom.
Sure. Adriana Cruz, I'm the executive director of the Texas Economic Development and Tourism Office in the Office of Governor Greg Abbott. It's wonderful to be here with you, Commissioner, and with my good friend Bonnie Downs with the Texas Economic Development Corporation, our partners, and both of you really are partners in our efforts to grow the economy of the state of Texas. And, I always say, you can't have economic development without workforce development. And so the workforce development piece of this puzzle is so important. So thanks to you and to your office representing employers. Of course, what we're doing at the Texas Economic Development and Tourism Office is really attracting new jobs, employers into the state of Texas, new employers, and also our current employers, helping them to grow and be successful in the state. And hire Texans and bring new capital investment to the state. So really honored to be here with you and one of our very, very important state partners in these efforts.
Yeah. There's so much going on with the state. I mean, let's just start at the state, right, Bonnie? You and Bonnie worked really hand in glove with each other in reinforcing our projection to other states, other countries, bringing business to Texas. How does that work just between your organizations?
Yeah, we partner with Adriana's organization just to scream from the rooftops that Texas is open for business. I mean, we've won 13 Governor Cups in a row.
Oh yeah. And
Adriana, I just wanted you to kind of touch on that because that's a huge deal. I think it's 13 in a row, 21 total. And there's no end in sight. I just, can you just touch more on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Governor's Cup is an award by Site Selection Magazine that goes to the state with the most economic development projects in the country, relocations and expansions. And as you said, Bonnie, Texas has won that award for 13 years in a row. Of course, we're working on number 14. We're always working on that. But Texas had more than, I think it was 1,300 projects, relocations and expansions that were counted by the publication to win this award. And that's more than twice the number 2 state. And it's really a testament to our Texas employers and the fact that they are choosing to grow and to expand and to add 20,000 square feet and add 20 more jobs or more in the state and in the communities where they are. Of course, we're always excited when new companies come to town and we get to do a ribbon cutting and we get to see the headline in the paper. And that is important and that is really great to celebrate those wins. But just as important is the Texas employer that's deciding to grow and expand in the state.
And I think you've talked about in the past that COVID was a big turning point where y'all saw a lot of those companies reaching out and asking, I know Texas is one of the states to open for business, and they were reaching out to Adriana's office. I'm in New Jersey. Why am I not open for business? Can you talk a little bit more about that and how those numbers kind of went up from there?
Yeah, absolutely. And I remember the day we have just tremendous interest in the state right now. We have about 350 active projects in our pipeline. And March 2020, we were seeing about 140 active projects a year. And so that time, March 2020, the state shut down, the world shut down, the country shut down, and everybody was sort of, in a wait and see mode. And Governor Abbott announced the strike force to open Texas, which I was honored to serve on that strike force. And really the plan was, let's talk to our Texas companies and see what do we need to do so that we can reopen the state in a way that's safe, in a way that mitigates the spread of this disease, that protects our customers, protects our employees, but allows us to pay our mortgage and buy groceries and make payroll and do all of the things that, need to be done. And so we started talking to employers and doing surveys and getting information on how to do this in a safe way. I started getting calls from the East Coast and the West Coast CEOs that were saying, our state is shut down. I don't know when we're going to open. I don't know how I'm going to pay my employees. I don't know how long this is going to go on. Texas seems to have a very common sense approach to this. It's really resonating with me, and I am questioning why I'm located where I am today. And as a good economic developer, I said, well, I question why you're located where you are, because you should be in Texas. Right. And the phone calls just started coming in, and we just started getting a lot of interest. And I think any company that had been thinking about relocating or expanding, suddenly it became a priority, and they really moved on those decisions. And so we have seen a doubling and then a tripling of our inquiries into the state. And it's been really exciting for Texas, and we've been the national leader in terms of job creation, in terms of economic development, in terms of economic resiliency, and I think that speaks a lot to sort of that common sense approach that we took, and Governor Abbott's leadership at that time.
Yeah, I think we're looking into getting a permanent parking spot for the site selection folks that come and bring in these awards over at the governor's mansion. I think that's probably a good smart thing to think about.
Smart thing to think about. We made the editor emeritus of Site Selection Magazine, Mark Aaron, has been to Texas so many times. He joked about it before, and the last time last year when we won this award, Governor Abbott made him an honorary Texan because he's
Very
here
fitting.
so often. Yeah.
We just got to update his driver's license. It's probably going to be good. But you did say, I want to touch on something you said. It's a culture of common sense. We really kind of had the momentum going, and we were already pulling. So many, industry leaders in Fortune 500 headquarters. It just COVID kind of sparked the initiative, because it was more of a flag that we raised to say that we're going to treat your business right. And why was the momentum happening before 2019? And prior to the governor's office, you've been in economic development for a few years at different levels, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
That had to come in. I mean, that experience is so valuable to have, and seeing it from the other levels.
Absolutely. I've been in economic development for 25 years. Worked in Governor Perry's administration in the economic development office. So at the state level, when economic development and tourism first moved into the governor's office.
Yeah.
And then I went and worked at the Austin Chamber as the VP of Global Corporate Recruitment. And then was there for about 7 years, and then went to the Greater San Marcos Partnership, which is the economic development organization for Hays and Caldwell County. And so been at the state level, been at the regional level, been at the local level, and then Governor Abbott appointed me in October 2019 to this position. I started in December 2019, 4 months before COVID. So,
Gosh. COVID. Remember that. But one thing is, Texas is obviously blessed naturally with resources, proximity, trading partners. All that is helpful, but that's not something that you're not only selling that. You weren't able to sell that when you were at the different levels of economic development. Um, what is the key to bringing our Eco Devo here?
Yeah.
Resource, all this stuff, all the things.
It's such a compelling story. I
Yeah.
mean, Texas really has a compelling story. And, I tell people, I speak, across the state and across the country in different places. And, I tell people, Texas does economic development like no other state in the nation because we are like no other state in the nation.
I agree.
We are, big. We are diverse. We're geographically diverse. Other states take a very top-down approach, and Texas is a very decentralized approach. And so the partnership that we have with our local and regional economic development organizations is really, really critical to our success. And we work as a team. This is a team effort. And that team also includes our state agency partners, like the Texas Workforce Commission, like the Texas Department of Transportation, and the Commission on Environmental Quality. We are all working together on a regular basis to make sure that Texas remains the best state for business, the best regulatory climate, most reasonable regulatory climate. Yeah. And on top of the other assets that you talked about, number one is the people, right? The Texas talent that can be found here. Number two is our geographic location in the middle of North America, in the middle of the United States, so you can access East Coast, West Coast, our higher education institutions, our infrastructure, robust infrastructure. You couple that with a great place to live, an affordable cost of living, the quality of life that you can find here, the trading partners that we have. Texas is the number one exporter in the nation and has been for 23 years in a row. Just so many assets from the economy to trade to education to workforce to geography, the robust infrastructure that we have, our ports, our highways, our airports, just all of these things kind of all mixed together. Is a really, really compelling story.
And it just attracts. That's all it is.
And then you package that all together,
Yeah.
and you have Governor Abbott who cares. I mean, he puts economic development top priority. And Adriana, I want to bring up a story you always tell about how Tesla could have built their gigafactory in California, but chose Texas. And there's a good story behind that.
Yeah, and I was actually in that meeting with Governor Abbott and Elon Musk, and it was a project that we were working. Tesla was looking at different states to build a gigafactory, which would be a mile in length. I mean, if you have not driven by or seen that Tesla gigafactory in eastern Travis County, it is amazing. But they were having the meeting, and Mr. Musk was saying, I need to be rolling out vehicles in 18 months. And given our business climate, our regulatory environment, the governor said we can do that. We can help with that. Very, business friendly, very pro business. Mr. Musk and Tesla selected a site in eastern Travis County outside of Austin, and they started construction. And in 18 months, they had vehicles rolling off that plant. And Elon Musk later said on X, I just finished my Texas Gigafactory in Texas in 18 months, and in California, I wouldn't even have my permit.
That's right. Yeah, so that went from 18 months from groundbreaking to actual cars rolling off the line.
Yeah, 18 months from greenfield, totally greenfield, breaking ground, and then vehicles rolling off.
I do remember that. And Elgin volunteer firefighters, when I was serving with those guys, a lot of the folks that also provide there's like electricians and just day jobs. That's a lot of them were pulled into it, and that was just a small sample of that little community there in Elgin that was put to work on that big project. And now also Samsung is starting to they're expanding in the area in Taylor. So you see it right down to just all the small community involvement that help out when something like that comes to the area.
It's truly transformational. These types of projects can truly transform a community and change their economic trajectory for generations. Tesla came in, said they were going to hire 5,000 people, and I believe they're at 20,000 now. So have completely blown their employment targets out of the water. And I think that's a testament to the workforce that we have here and the fact that very trained, very capable, very productive Texans can come to work at these facilities, and then the facility just continues to grow because they have the right people here.
It's huge. It's amazing.
So, we're number one, Adriana. I mean, the list goes on. And I know Texans, we do not rest on our laurels. So next 5 to 10 years, what are we going to do to continue to stay number one?
Well, that's a great segue into sort of our plan for the future. And when Governor Abbott kind of in the State of the State talked about, building a stronger Texas, we had been working on an economic development strategic plan. And it's called Bigger, Better Texas. And it is the 5-year economic development strategic plan for the future of the state's economy. And, you may ask, well, why? Why are we doing this? We're already number one in all the things. We're number one in economic development. We're number one in job creation. We're number one in economic resiliency. We're the top exporter. We're the top state for economic development. Why would we do this? And it's because we cannot be complacent. Now that we're number one, all of the other states are sort of looking to Texas and we have a target on our back. And so we need to be sure that we stay on top of these new industries, changing industries. Industries continue to change and evolve and develop. So we need to make sure that we've got all of the components that we need so that we can continue to be the top economy in the United States. We are competing at a global level. So Texas is now competing on a world stage, on a global stage, and we need to be ready.
So your office, everything that we can do to sell the state of Texas to the economy, it's vast. There's a huge spectrum of it. We would definitely be keeping you more than our allotted time of around 20 to 30 minutes. But you have the CHIPS office in your office. You've got space. That's part of your area of operations right now. Once that comes around, that's because you mentioned new sectors of industry. We're talking about chips, space, tourism. Most of this comes from small businesses. I mean, isn't that the biggest impact that we have in the state of Texas is the 3.2 or 3.3 million?
Absolutely. Small business is big business in Texas. And 98%, I think, of our businesses are considered small business, and they employ more than 50% of the Texas workforce. So these are definitely, the small business ecosystem in Texas is really the backbone of the economy and very, very important to our state. These industry sectors that we're talking about, from semiconductors, automotive manufacturing. I mean, we looked at our target industry sectors that we've been working in for many years, and identified, got the data to validate the industry sectors that we already have, but added some new ones that we had not had as some targets for us. They're very important, and again, remember, Texas is a very diverse state.
Yeah.
Very diverse, very large, geographically diverse. And so not every region of Texas is going to be focused on, say, food production, but for certain segments of our state, food production is critically important. So some of the identified target industry sectors that we looked at and researched through the strategic plan are advanced manufacturing. You talked about semiconductors. That also includes automotive. That also includes electronic components, aerospace, and defense. Energy evolution. We are the energy capital of the world. Energy is very important to our economy. We're proud of our oil and gas heritage, but we are also embracing the new technologies. Hydrogen, nuclear. We're seeing a nuclear renaissance right now. So small modular reactors, wind and solar. So it's an all of the above and all of the below energy strategy in the state of Texas. I mentioned food production already. But because tourism and the film commission and the music office are in our office,
right, yeah.
Hospitality, tourism, and culture
Yeah.
are very important. For some Texas,
We got a lot of it.
yeah, we do. And for some Texas communities, that hospitality and the cultural aspect is really the livelihood, their livelihood, and the source of their economy. IT, information technology, and AI. We are seeing just a lot of interest right now in AI. A lot of people have seen the announcement by Oracle and OpenAI on the AI data center in Abilene. So that's going to be a big area for the state. Life sciences and biotechnology. We're home to the largest medical center in the world at Texas Medical Center. And so, leveraging that not just in the Houston area, but in other parts of the state as well. Petroleum refining and chemicals, professional services and corporate operations. Financial services sector falls under that, and we've seen a lot of announcements recently on the financial services and corporate operations side. NASDAQ just announced their second headquarters in
Stock
Texas.
Exchange, yeah.
Texas Stock Exchange.
Y'all Street.
Y'all Street.
Y'all Street. That is-
Y'all Street is happening.
Great branding.
I
So
missed that. How did I miss that?
very exciting
my gosh.
on that sector. Transportation and logistics. We have the two biggest ports in the country in Texas. The number one port in the United States right now, Port Laredo, with the volume of trade and volume of exports going through there. And then the number one port in terms of waterborne tonnage, Port Houston.
Definitely used-
So transportation and logistics really important for our state, and then rare earth elements and mineral mining. So again, certain segments of our state that is a really important industry, and also an industry with national security implications.
Yeah.
So these are the target industry sectors. Of course, we work outside of these sectors in others as well, but these are the areas that have just a really high potential impact for the state's economy.
So it's the entire state working together. It's the entire state providing those resources, producing.
Yes, absolutely. And the way we came up with the strategic plan, again, with a state like Texas, yes, you do a lot of data analysis, and there's a certain amount of research that goes into it, but we also looked at what the councils of government, they all have to do a strategic plan. And so we took all of those strategic plans along with the Opportunity Austin, Greater SATX, Greater Houston Partnership, Dallas Regional Chamber, every regional group that we could find that had a strategic plan. We reviewed probably more than 40 local and regional strategic plans, and then bubbled them up, bottom up approach to create sort of an umbrella strategic plan for the entire state.
It's a good recipe.
Adriana, you sound very busy. And I kind of want to end on a
Yeah.
fun note here.
Thanks.
If you are interested in to see what Adriana does week after week, she has a great weekly recap on her LinkedIn.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And I printed out a picture, and I'm just going to pass it around. You might recognize some very famous people. Last week, Adriana testified for the Film Commission with Matthew
Is this the
McConaughey
guy from Cheers?
and Woody Harrelson. So I didn't just, maybe touch on that and how you got to help testify for the Film Commission.
Yeah. So the Film Commission is under the Texas Economic Development and Tourism Office. The film industry, it's the moving image industry is important to our state. Big economic impact to communities. When I was in San Marcos, we actually did an economic impact analysis of what the impact of film had been in just Hayes and Caldwell counties. And some of the things that we discovered was that, when people think of film or TV production coming into a community, they think of the stars and the actors. They don't think about the small business that is helping that production, the dry cleaner, the lumber yard, the caterer. Some productions, those breakfast tacos are going to have to come from somewhere, right?
Absolutely.
To feed the cast and the crew.
Might as well be the best.
Yeah, and so it's going to be local, right? It's going to be someone locally that's providing those goods and services. I was testifying that day on the Texas Moving Image Incentive Program, the Moving Image Industry Incentive Program, or TMIP. which is, we have requested an appropriation of about $200 million to help fund that incentive program. There is a Senate bill that would increase that, which is under discussion right now. And of course, when we testify, we are providing information. We do not advocate. We are simply educating and providing information as a state agency. And we implement what the legislature gives us. And so I was just speaking about TMIP, how it operates, how it works, answering questions. Mr. McConaughey and Mr. Harrelson were there as Texan actors who are, we're giving the message to the legislature that they would, really like to do more work in the state. And, like many other businesses, incentives play a role. You have to have lots of other factors. You have to have the workforce, you have to have the cast and the crew, the geography, the environment. The incentives can make or break a location decision for film production as it does for manufacturing. And so they do play a role. But it was a great afternoon, very exciting day.
A lot of attention.
A lot of attention. In October, we had an interim hearing. There was an interim hearing on the film incentive program with Taylor Sheridan and Dennis Quaid as well. And so it has attracted a lot of attention. We're, of course, very, very grateful and always grateful for the opportunity to talk to our elected leaders and provide them information on our programs and how they help to benefit the state.
That's awesome.
Adriana, exciting stuff. You make our jobs very easy.
Yeah, really do. We will be wrapping up here, but I wanted to well, first of all, say thank you again. For being here, but I wanted to highlight the Governor Small Business Summits that we do.
Yes.
Thank you for inviting us. Me and my fellow commissioners were able to have a great platform. You guys set up. For those of you that don't know, the governor hosts small business summits around the state. Looks to be about 15 to 16 across the state.
That's right.
This is, from what I've observed, this is an opportunity that we bring as much resources, state resources, to one location. If you're a small business or business in the area that wants more information and can hear from experts, talk about all the resources that are available to you. And as I say it, this is your money. This is your money put to work. This is your money. We want to help you save money when it comes to taxes and put that money back into your business. I'll be at the next one in Orange, Texas on the 24th. By the time this comes out, we'll probably be more in the summertime. But please go on to visit gov.texas.gov/events, or just get your Google machine out and look up Governor Small Business Summit. They're all over the state. I see Bastrop in June, San Marcos in June, Rockport Fulton in July. The chairman will probably be at that one. I'm not sure if I'm signed up for that, but we appreciate having the opportunity to talk about our resources at the Workforce Commission and what you can get there. Tune a note, October 23rd, we'll be in Denton, and now that's focused on women-owned businesses. Last year, I think it was in New Braunfels.
That's right.
The one we had there, and I think the First Lady showed up for that one,
That's
too.
right.
So
Yes, she did.
thank you, Mrs. Abbott. And then our November 13th is Belton, so that one's going to be veteran-focused. So, again, telling you, you got a lot going on, Adriana. We'll let you get back to it.
Thank
we
you.
Really thank you for coming over and making this podcast pretty legit, I would say.
Yes. Thank you so much, Adriana. And don't forget, follow Adriana on her LinkedIn.
Oh
See
my
what
gosh.
she's up to.
See what happened the week before. Well, this podcast is going to be featured for sure.
Oh, good.
We made it.
Yeah,
We made it. We made
get
the LinkedIn.
Maybe 5 more followers, maybe. Katie, we looked at our stats. We're looking pretty good, but that will call you guys to action. If you're listening to us, please help us out. Send this to somebody that you think would benefit from learning all these great little topics that we bring about. It's big business. It's good for you. It's good for your small business. Our resources are always available to you, employers especially. Call us. We have wonderful attorneys that can help you with navigating small business employment laws and all the fun stuff that goes into it. So thank you for being in the arena, and we thank you for listening, and we'll go ahead and turn it off.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you so
Adriana,
much.
Awesome. That was good. Thank you. Bonnie.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.